Welcome to the Mind Solution Podcast with Sarah Maud. The Mind Solution Podcast is for leaders like you who are passionate about well-being in the workplace because you understand that a strong, resilient and happy workforce is the key to your organisation's success. The Mind Solution Podcast is here to help you. So join us every week where we'll share with you powerful insights, strategies and know-how to ensure that your people and your organisation are truly thriving from the inside out. Hi there, I'm Sarah Maud. I need stress to thrive. No, that is not my belief, but I need stress to thrive were the words that I heard loud and clear from a sales manager this week that was on a management mental health training program that we designed for his company. Now, the manager in question had a very strong belief that to perform, to meet sales targets, to smash it every month, he needed the stress response. Me? Huge red flag alert. But when I dug deeper with him, I recognized that he didn't understand the stress response. So it was a good job that he was on our training program. But when I explained to him about the stress response, I explained to him about the body's survival response, the freeze, fight and flight response, and that the survival response is for one thing and one thing only, and that is to keep you safe. So the survival response is the last thing that you want if you're trying to meet a sales target, trust me. Because the second that you go into that stress response, that survival response, you lose access to the executive functions of the brain. All rational thinking goes out of the window because you lose access to your prefrontal cortex. And if we think about the nature of sales is about building relationships. It's to be able to really hear what your customer needs are, to be able to listen. And when you really listen and really understand what your customer needs are, to then be able to match those needs with the right solution, to understand by asking the right questions. And you can't do any of that if you're in the stress response. Now, this manager also believed that in order to meet his targets, he needed to be under consistent pressure along with his team. He thought that him and his team needed to be in this consistent state of adrenaline and high alert in order to smash sales. So I went on to explain even more about the stress response and why stress and sales do not go hand in hand. It's a very old misnomer that in order to work in a sales environment, to be able to work in something like even the stock exchange, that we have to be in the stress response. So I talked to him about mindset and I explained to him about the nature of thought and beliefs. And I could see his mind starting to shift. I could see the lights going on and him starting to see that there was a different way. Now, at this point, another manager stepped in and shared her own story of burnout and was wonderful in sharing how she'd had similar thoughts and beliefs about where she felt she needed to keep pushing herself, she needed to prove herself, but all that she ended up with was complete burnout and chronic pain. And so having shared her experience also backed up what this sales manager had heard. And it was fantastic. It was absolutely fantastic to blow his beliefs apart. But imagine if that conversation hadn't taken place. Imagine if this manager hadn't attended the management mental health training, and the risk of him and his team reaching burnout, the risk of him projecting his beliefs and his assumptions about what he thought constituted success onto his team. And that's just one example of where I hear a manager projecting their beliefs. But I've also heard managers project beliefs about people playing the mental health card, for example. Managers who believe that people are faking it and are using mental health as an excuse for poor performance. And my response in those scenarios is to ask a manager who has that belief that people are faking mental health, that they're playing the mental health card, is if somebody feels the need to go to that extremity, to go to that extreme, then what does that say about the manager or the culture of the organizations? What are the signs and the signals that a manager's projecting if an employee feels like they have to make up something to do with mental health? Because that, to me, tells me that that employee doesn't feel psychologically safe to share the real reason, to speak about what's really going on for them. And again, when we present managers on the management mental health training with a bit of devil's advocate, if you will, we give them a new perspective. We invite them to see things in a way that they possibly hadn't seen before. Again, it's that new perspective shines a light and they're able to see things in a way that they didn't see before. And it's a huge, huge light bulb moment. And I love these conversations. I love them because I can see managers shifting their belief and their perceptions in a matter of seconds. And I've also seen lots of beliefs where a manager's had a mental health condition, and if they've had a mental health condition like they've had anxiety or depression, then beliefs about the actual condition themselves have also crept in. And in those scenarios, managers can be projecting their beliefs about the mental health condition onto their team. So in one example, I had a manager on one of our management mental health training courses talking about depression and her experience with depression. And she'd explained that she had family members who'd experienced depression, still had depression, and that she felt from her experience that depression was very complex and that it was hard to overcome. But as I was listening to her, I was able to spot the beliefs that she had about depression. And I understood what she was basing her beliefs on. And when I was able to explain more about the mind and the brain in more detail and how the brain's made of neuroplasticity, which means that it's moldable, and that with the right psychological intervention, depression isn't something that people have to learn to live with. I could see that her mind was questioning the truth behind her beliefs that depression had to be something complex. And if we believe something, it's going to seem real. If we believe that something is complex, it's going to appear that way. That's going to be our experience of it. If we believe that a conversation is going to be difficult, we're teaching the body what to expect. It's almost like we're putting ourselves into a hypnotic trance about what the experience is going to be like, and that's going to affect how we show up. Now, coming back to beliefs and managers projecting beliefs, well, we also know that 1 in 4 people struggle with their mental health at any one time in the UK. In the US, it's 1 in 5. So there are managers out there that are struggling with their mental health. And that means that if they've had no management mental health training, they're going to pose a risk of projecting, innocently projecting, but projecting nonetheless, their beliefs and assumptions onto their team. Beliefs which they might not even be aware that they have. I remember speaking to one manager who had anxiety, and she'd experienced anxiety for quite a long time. And she believed that the anxiety was something that she had to learn to live with. Now, this is something I hear time and time again. It's a very common belief that anxiety is something that you have to learn to live with. And sometimes people have that belief because it's something that's been given to them by GPs, by doctors. Now, I've specialized in working with anxiety over the last 12 years, and I can categorically tell you that anxiety is not something that you have to learn to live with. It is not part of your personality. It's not something that you were born with. You are not a natural born worrier. And I've helped countless people to overcome those beliefs and to overcome anxiety full stop. And are now living wonderful, colourful, happy, content, calm experiences out in the wide world. But this particular manager who had this belief that anxiety was something that she had to learn to live with, well, she was also a mental health first aider. And what really struck me in the conversation was, where is she projecting innocently, but where is she projecting that belief when she's having conversations with her team and with people that have sought her help as a manager, as a mental health first aider? Where is she projecting her assumptions and her beliefs that anxiety is something that you have to learn to live with? So again, another red flag alert. And beliefs are so powerful, but they operate under the radar. 96, 98% of everything that we think, we feel, we believe is coming from the unconscious mind. So if you're not aware of those beliefs, and they are going to operate under the radar, but your beliefs are how you experience life. Your mind is filtering 400 million bits of information per second. And the criteria for what you filter is based on your beliefs. And it's those beliefs that are creating your own inner reality. And your inner reality is different to somebody else's inner reality. So when we're able to put managers through management mental health training, and we're able to help managers to identify their beliefs, their limiting beliefs about mental health, their beliefs about what is possible, their beliefs about what they think is needed to perform, what they think success is and what it looks like. And we're able to start really shifting their thinking and their perception around these beliefs. Well, that's a huge win-win. That is an absolutely huge win-win for both the manager and for the individual. Now, creating positive mental health starts with the inside out. So get in touch today to find out more about our management mental health programs. You can get in touch with us using the links below. So I trust that gave you food for thought, has got you thinking about your own belief system. And I will look forward to connecting with you again very soon. Bye bye for now.